Okay, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. This is Mr. Photon and Mr. Shakespeare, along with psychic medium Liz Cross. How are we doing today, guys?
We're
Oh,
all good here.
Wunderbar.
wunderbar. Okay. So today's date is the 11th of October, 2024, and we're going to have a look into NATO and specifically NATO, which is the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and specifically the potential entry of Ukraine into NATO, which is something that NATO wants. Sorry, it's something that Ukraine wants, but it's something that most of the member states have privately told the Hungarian foreign minister that they don't want. So we need to know what's happening so far. Liz, let's grab NATO first as an entity.
Okay, yep. Got them here.
And let's push them out, please, till the 30th of January 2025.
Oh, okay. January 30th, 2025, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What would you like to know?
Has there been any reduction in funding from NATO, specifically from the United States?
Has there been any reduction in funding from the United States to NATO? Yes. Recently? Yes, last month.
Ooh. So last month would be sorry, what days were we at? I've forgotten already.
Well, now don't forget, interestingly enough, are you in February? No. Are you saying January there was a reduction in funding? Was it January that there was a reduction? No, I feel it's at the end of December there was. Why? But has there been more of a reduction in January? A lot more. So they started cutting back in December for whatever reason. And that's the USA? Yes,
That's
that is
some,
the USA.
yeah, that's right. Has that, sorry, the reduction in the amount of money going into NATO from the United States, did that have anything to do with the outcome of the US election?
Did that have anything to do with the outcome of the USA? Yes, it did.
Okay. Has Ukraine been admitted to as a member of Ukraine as a member of NATO?
Has Ukraine been admitted as a member of NATO? No, that's on hold.
Okay. Can we can we just flick over onto Ukraine, please?
Oh,
Hang on a minute.
okay, that's one way of doing it.
Okay. Can we grab Ukraine as an entity, please, and put them out to the 30th of January, 2025, Liz?
Okay, so Ukraine, January 30th, 2025, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Eastern Standard Time, yes.
Okay. What's happening with their application to become part of NATO?
What's happening with your application to become part of NATO? It's all on hold.
Why is it on hold?
It's pending a peace deal with Russia.
Yeah, so they wouldn't go through with it unless Russia at least okays it, because that would be, that's a threat to Russia, obviously, if they become part of NATO officially.
Russia will never allow them to become part of NATO. Okay, let's grab Mark Rutte, please, on another picture.
Okay, who's that?
He's now the head of NATO.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, he was the prime minister of the
He
Netherlands, wasn't he?
Correct. He formerly was the prime minister of the Netherlands. One of the things that brought him to the fore was that he wanted to basically destroy farms in the Netherlands, stop them producing food. So he's a true globalist. He's certainly following the agenda, and he took over from Jens Stoltenberg as the head of NATO. Okay, two questions.
Sorry, hold on. Was he elected or was he appointed?
What, to To be prime minister or to be head of NATO?
Head of NATO.
I believe he was appointed. I
It's
mean, there
like,
might have been
what
a
do
short
they
list.
appoint?
Well, yeah, there might have been
Yeah.
a short list of one or two or something, and then they chose between them, I think. I'm not sure how it actually works. I mean, a lot of these positions people get appointed to, they, it's very rarely do they get elected. Okay. What do we want to ask him? Okay, so how has the reduction in funding from the United States affected NATO?
How has the reduction in funding from the United States affected NATO? It's a disaster. They can't run NATO without funding from the US.
What is the
So now,
situation?
sorry, let me give this to you. So now they're having to really conform to some US demands. Before they didn't have to really answer, but they do now.
Okay. What's the current situation of Ukraine's application to become part of NATO?
The current situation of the Ukraine application. It's on hold.
Why is it on hold?
Why is it on hold? Because they're having to, what? This is Russian, he said Russian appeasement is what he came back to me with. What do you mean by Russian appeasement? Well, they're trying to work out a peace deal.
So is Ukraine still at war with Russia?
Are they still at war? At the moment, yes.
Okay.
Until something can be worked out. There's a
Right.
lot of pressure from the US to work this out.
Yeah.
So they're going to use it
All
as a
right.
bargaining chip then.
Can we put him out another? Can we put him out till? Sorry.
I didn't say anything.
No, Mr. Photon did, and I think I must cut him off. Sorry.
No, I'm on mute.
Oh, right. Okay. Can we just put him out till the 15th of April, please, 2025?
I think that's pushing it, but we can go.
Oh.
April 15th, 2025, 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. What would you like to know?
Is Ukraine a part of NATO?
No.
Has America cut even more funding, or have they increased funding to NATO?
Have they cut more funding? No, they've reinstated the funding.
Oh, okay. Why is NATO? Why is Ukraine not a member of NATO?
Because Russia won't allow it.
Absolutely, yeah. That is Russia's biggest red line? Okay. All right. Any other question, Mr. Photon?
Sorry, let me give this to you. They are that so there may even be making a new category of friends of NATO as opposed to in NATO. Okay.
What? Really?
That's
Hello.
yeah.
That's what I'm getting. It's like a friends of NATO. In other words, we've got your back, but you're not officially a member of NATO.
We're just going to use you as our proxy war, basically.
Yeah. Friends of NATO. All right. Okay.
So, I mean, that is a little bit far out. This is all based upon quantum probability. But NATO had to bow under a lot of pressure from the US. Why was that? Is it because the US came under fire for funding so much? People okay, well, here we go. We may give the election away. But what I'm getting is this is a big reason as to why according to the media, or maybe according to some narrative, that certain people in the US election voted a particular way. It swayed their opinion. It was, you know how they do the opinion polls, what caused you to vote a certain way, or what causes you to vote this way, or what causes you to vote that way. And what I'm getting is the money to the Ukraine was a big factor in opinion with regards to voting a particular way. And so now it's really making them take a look about, look at where they're spending money, where they're allocating money, how much money is being allocated, because they're sick of it. Okay. The US economy, this is all coming in. The US economy is in bad shape. And it's really coming to notice that too much money has been sent into something that's never ending. And so there's a lot of pressure on A, to not keep funding the Ukraine, but B, to end this, because it's like the US is committed to funding the Ukraine, but, how do they stop funding it? Right? Well, you stop funding it by coming to some sort of peace agreement. And how do you do that? Well, they know that Russia is not bendable at all. They've tried, and I'm getting that very strongly, that they've tried to, get more compromise. It's not happening. It's not happening. So everybody is now appeasing. So that makes sense where he said Russian appeasement, right?
Well,
Everybody's
the problem
having
is
to
Russia
appease.
has been, yeah. Go on, Mr. Fedder, I'm sorry.
No. You go on, Mr. Shakespeare, because you were saying something about sending long range rockets, or tell us about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're desperate to start World War III because the neocons in the administration currently, that's what they're trying to do. They want a war with somebody, and I mean, Biden and Blinken just cancelled the trip for this weekend to Germany, so I think that's signaling the end of the support for Ukraine. That's what we believe. This is in October, so they're going to be looking elsewhere. Now, the problem they've got is that if they were to send these long range, I mean, that puts America and Russia in direct nuclear potential conflict with each other, which nobody really wants, apart from a few neocons in the current US administration. But it looks like there are more sensible people in the Pentagon who actually understand the outcome potentially of all of this and have stopped it. So it looks like there's been a mini coup in the White House, and the neocons are not getting their own way. Now, going forward, yes, they have pumped a lot of money into Ukraine. And most of it it's not really had the desired effect. But from Russia's point of view, Russia's been lied to about too many times now, and they're done with the West. So they were lied to over Minsk I and Minsk II agreements. Also, after the start of the special military operation, there was the potential for a ceasefire. Zelensky had the papers. I mean, it was, the team were there. There was there was a possibility of a truce. But unfortunately, Boris Johnson was sent there, and he scuppered the whole lot. And we believe he basically told Zelensky, look, we've got your back. You're better off with us. Well, I don't know how many Ukrainians have been killed since then. Way over 500,000. Some people put it as high as over 1,000,000. And they're still fighting. They're getting nowhere. Russia will not compromise now, will not stop, because they've been lied to. They do not trust the West. Every time the West makes a deal, makes an agreement, it goes back on it or it does something. So, Russia, you can see why Russia won't compromise.
Well, this is where we are. Obviously, sending money to Ukraine going out in the future was one of the hot topics as far as public opinion was concerned with regard to voting.
Well, yeah, I mean, you've had two disastrous hurricanes hit, and they're worried about sending money to Ukraine. Well, what about
That's what I
Americans?
was gonna say. You read my mind. Was that the catalyst for this change in public opinion? What were
Well,
the
let's ask. Let's ask. Was it the hurricane damage that was the catalyst for the change? Absolutely 100% correct. Yes. Yes. That's what I'm getting. So a lot of people, what I'm getting from the hurricane damage, they were let down by the government. The insurance companies are refusing to pay. Nobody's holding the insurance companies accountable. And I'm getting that a lot of people are absolutely displaced and destitute because of this issue.
Right.
So that was a big factor. And if you look at it, look at the states that were affected. So one of them, North Carolina, isn't North Carolina a swing state?
Yeah. Well, it
Well,
won't be
there you
now.
go.
It won't be now. The problem is that, most Americans can't even put Ukraine on the map, I'm sorry to say, and have, pretty much have not been that much interested one way or another. But I think the damage that these two hurricanes have caused, and the federal government's response is, well, we'll give you $750. Well, actually, no, we won't. We'll loan it to you. And so, in the meantime, and they're passing bills wanting to send billions to Ukraine. There's something very wrong with an America that's doing that.
Well, what is interesting about that is, excuse me, as we were talking, I think it was the other day, me and Mr. Photon, we got that now because of this information age, the governments can no longer control the information, whereas before they always had that stronghold on people that they could control the information. Oh, that's false information. That's this, that's that. Well, they can't do that anymore because of vlogging, TikTok, shorts, YouTube. Not only are people saying it, but they're backing it up with, with evidence, video evidence. So
Yeah.
now the government is at a huge loss. They've completely underestimated the power and control they have over information now. And that's what's coming through very strongly. They totally got that wrong. Whereas they think that they've salvaged the opinion of people for saying, oh, this is lies, it's this, is that. People don't believe them anymore. They're watching TikTok, they're watching shorts, they're watching YouTube. They believe those people on the ground, and of course the $750 is for emergency money, right? But
Mm,
as somebody on a short said, okay, that's great for me to buy groceries. I don't even have a fridge, right?
no.
I don't have a home and I don't have a fridge. And of course, the other big problem is that a lot of these communities and these areas that have been completely destroyed by flooding in mountainous areas. I mean, have you ever really known a mountainous area to flood? No. So guess what? It's not. So let's ask this question. It was these flood victims from the hurricane, is insurance covering them? No. And this is where the public opinion has got them, because the insurance company, most of them did not have flood insurance. They never knew that they needed flood insurance, and certainly not to the extent where their houses are being washed down the river and they're watching it. I mean, you should see the video footage on
I
YouTube
have.
where
Yeah,
people are
I've been
watching.
watching it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're watching how their houses float away, like buildings and even large buildings, RVs, homes, cars, everything's just being, taken down the river. I know that in East Tennessee, there was a dam about to burst and it had cracks in the wall. The water was 17 foot above the dam and everybody was bracing themselves for that. I don't think it burst in the end, thank God. But again, that would have brought along a lot more damage. So they have really misjudged going out into the future these events and public opinion.
Okay, that's it. Let's wrap this one now. Thank you. Unless Mr. Photon
right.
has any other questions.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
All right, this is cool. I'll stop this one here. He looks very Dutch, doesn't he? I think he
Oh, yeah.
does.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
He looks very. I like the Dutch football team, so I think he looks very Dutch. Anyway, I'll stop this one here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.